Dark Hollywood childhood secrets, Ariana Grande, Amanda Bynes, and more. Welcome to PopPlug. Let's get plugged in.
Let's get plugged in.
In March 2024, the Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV documentary dropped, pulling back the curtain on what really happened behind the scenes at Nickelodeon. It revealed the dark reality that many child stars were forced to endure, including Ariana Grande, Amanda Bynes, Drake Bell, and other young cast members who were working on set while still kids. The documentary showed how unsafe environments, inappropriate behavior, and unchecked power became part of daily life for these children. Adults who were meant to protect them either crossed serious lines or stayed silent. For years, warning signs were dismissed, jokes were normalized, and concerns were ignored, all while these kids were expected to keep performing and smiling for the camera. What makes the Quiet on Set revelations really heavy is how young so many of these stars were when it all happened. They were thrown into fast-moving, high-pressure environments where adults made the rules, and questioning anything wasn't really an option. And when you are that young, you don't even realize something is wrong. You somehow just learn to adjust, stay quiet, and keep going. Ariana Grande grew up inside that system. She wasn't just acting on Nickelodeon. She was being shaped by an industry that decided what was acceptable long before she had the chance to. Like many child stars, she lived by scripts, schedules, and approval from people with far more power than she did. Most of this felt normal to her, but it turned out to be far from it. And that's what happens when you're still learning who you are. You don't always recognize when boundaries are being pushed. You assume the adults know better. You believe this is normal. And by the time you're old enough to understand it fully, the damage may already be done. Now fast forward to the present. Ariana is no longer a child star. She's a global actress. But the pressure never disappeared. Instead, it simply evolved. Hollywood continues to demand perfection, constantly scrutinizing her body, dissecting her appearance, and treating her image like it belongs to everyone but her. No matter what is happening privately, she's expected to show up, deliver, and remain flawless in the public eye. Because after she filmed Wicked, fans noticed how much weight Ariana appeared to have lost. While no one can say for sure what caused it, the timing made people wonder if there is a connection. Because when someone who has spent most of their life under intense control and scrutiny looks visibly worn down, it forces a bigger question about what long-term exposure to this system actually does to people. Like, just look at Amanda. She was also a Nickelodeon kid, and fans think her life got messed up by it. For instance, Amanda Bynes was Nickelodeon's golden girl at just 13, starring in The Amanda Show after shining on All That. And while everything looked good and she appeared successful, fans were quick to point out that things might have been a lot more complicated. It turned out that rumors of inappropriate behavior from an adult producer and the intense pressure of early fame left her struggling with depression, body image issues, and substance use later on. Drake Bell also opened up about being abused. The trauma affected his mental health and life long after leaving Nickelodeon. Speaking out was hard, but he wanted to reclaim his story. When Ariana's journey is put alongside it, people tend to notice a pattern where young stars are placed in adult spaces without protection, forced to handle pressure and control they weren't ready for. People see the industry shaped them so much that the effects don't end when they grow up. And looking at the bigger picture, one thing becomes clear to fans. They believe there was a system at Nickelodeon where being close to Dan Schneider and doing what some called special favors often meant big opportunities. According to fans, spin-off shows were the reward for those who fit into the right circles. Ariana got her spin-off with Sam and Cat after Victorious. Amanda Bynes got The Amanda Show after All That. Drake Bell got Drake and Josh also after All That. Meanwhile, stars who didn't fit that mold or challenge the system sometimes faced consequences. Like Jamie Lynn Spears, for example. She was pretty much blacklisted after her pregnancy, showing how unfair and manipulative the environment was. Of course, no one goes through all of that without leaving with a scar. In June 2024, Ariana opened up in an interview about finally processing her experiences on those shows. She admitted that looking back, she realizes some things were inappropriate.
Speaking specifically about our show, I think that was something that we were convinced was like the cool thing about us, is that like we pushed the envelope with our humor, and the innuendos were like, we were told and convinced as well that it was like the cool differentiation. And I don't know. I think it just all happened so quickly. And now looking back on some of the clips, I'm like, that's...
For her, it was a long process of noticing things and understanding that just because she was young and didn't have the words for it then, it didn't mean what happened was okay. Her reflection shows how early fame combined with industry pressures can stick with you for years and affect your mental health, confidence, and sense of safety. Amanda Bynes has mostly stayed silent when it comes to quiet on set. She refused to comment on the documentary or her time at Nickelodeon, leaving fans and the public to piece together her story from past interviews and the struggles she has shared over the years. Her path definitely proves that some people handle trauma quietly, and they prefer to process things privately while navigating life outside the spotlight. Drake Bell has been more open about his own experiences, talking about being abused as a child on set. At the same time, he has faced serious accusations later in his life, showing how complicated and layered these situations can be. And let's be real, that kind of impact in the early life of these actors in such an intense industry can be messy, ongoing, and sometimes difficult to fully understand from the outside. Honestly, all these stories reveal a pattern. Kids who are young, talented, and trying to navigate a world built by adults often faced pressures, exploitation, and confusing dynamics they could not control or fully understand. Unfortunately, opportunities came with strings attached, and surviving in that environment meant learning to stay quiet, perform, and adapt at a time when they were still figuring out who they were. For Ariana, Amanda, Drake, and others, the trauma of those years did not end when they left Nickelodeon. It follows them into adulthood in different ways, shaping their mental health, choices, and how they process fame. Some speak openly, some stay private, but all carry the impact. Ariana's reflections in 2024 definitely point out that even decades later, processing those experiences is not easy, but necessary. This is why the conversation around quiet on set matters. It is not just about nostalgia, spin-offs, or childhood shows. It is about understanding how a system meant to entertain children instead puts them in impossible situations. It is about seeing the long-term effects on stars who were too young to fully understand what was happening to them and recognizing that the industry's culture can leave lasting scars. By looking at Ariana, Amanda, Drake Bell, and even others like Lynn Spears, we start to see a pattern of power, opportunity, and exploitation that shaped a generation of young stars. And now, with Ariana sharing her thoughts, people are finally able to connect those past experiences to the realities of growing up in Hollywood, and we kind of see just how much the industry takes from the kids it puts in the spotlight. So, what do you think? Are Ariana, Amanda, and Drake Bell finally getting the recognition and support they deserve for speaking out about their childhood experiences? Do you think Hollywood will start taking responsibility for how young stars are treated on set, or is change still a long way off? And how much do you think these early experiences shape the stars we see today? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you don't want to miss out on the latest celebrity and industry stories, make sure to subscribe to and follow PopPlug to stay plugged in.